to the Talking Cars podcast. I'm Alex Knizek.
I'm Emily Thomas.
And I'm Keith Barry.
All right, so on today's show, we're going to be talking about the 2026 Lexus ES. And I don't think there is a more Consumer Reports vehicle, or very few, than the Lexus ES. So this is an important car. It's historically done really well in our testing, and kind of a perennial favorite for us. So it's a big deal when a new one comes along. Today, we'll be talking specifically about the electric version, the EV, which is a new thing for the ES in general. But what we bought is a ES 500e. So that kind of stands for the all-wheel drive version of the electric. You can also get a front-wheel drive, which we'll get into. Got the convenience package, and in the end, it came to about $54,000 with destination, which is certainly not cheap, but kind of in line with what you might expect for a vehicle like this. So let's get into it. Keith, I'm going to start with you because, like I said, this has historically been a great car, highly recommended by CR, reliable, owners love it, road test pretty well. But you said, leading up to this, that you kind of had to come to terms with it, so to speak. So what did you have to come to terms with?
I was so nervous about this car. So I wrote the preview of it, and then I started seeing photos of it, and then I would see one or two on the road. So you hit a certain age, and suddenly things start kind of, the world isn't for you anymore. And it just...
There's a South Park episode about this.
Oh, there is? Oh, okay. See, I'm too old for that. I don't know.
He's hit a certain age.
I've hit that age. And now, you go to a restaurant, the music's too loud, and everyone says welcome in instead of just hello.
I'm with you on that one.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's just sort of like, oh, okay, it's time for me to fade into the background slowly. And I was afraid that Lexus had sort of, from the look of it, they're very obviously chasing the Model 3. They're very obviously, they've changed out all the chrome for some piano black.
Kind of traditional looking, and now it is not.
Exactly. And the EV part, I don't mind at all. I love the fact that, this car is Lexus, it's a quiet, comfy car, and it is made to be an EV or a hybrid. The quieter, the better. So that I was excited about. But just looking at it, it looked a little minimalist. I was really nervous. It was like, the menu changes at your favorite restaurant, and then the booths changed to tables, and then the lights changed. It felt like it was getting something good was going to change.
Right.
So I was nervous.
Don't mess with, what's not broken, essentially, right? It was already doing really well, so...
And there aren't that many luxuries. I mean, we already lost the LS, which was big and expensive and kind of fussy. There aren't that many luxury sedans out there, and the ones that exist are mostly tuned for performance, not for kind of comfort and cushiness.
Right.
So... I loved this car. I know when we had the last one we had in the fleet, it was signed out every long weekend. The one time I saw Jeff Bartlett take a vacation, he had it signed out for his road trip.
Yeah, it speaks volumes, right?
Yeah, exactly. It was the car that like we put a please don't put any more miles on this car, warning on it. So yeah, I was nervous.
It was popular.
Yeah, very popular. Right. Very popular.
Emily, were you nervous getting into this car compared to either previous ESs or just, in general, going into this ES for the first time?
I think at first when I found out that it was an EV, I was like, oh, shucks. Because I was more nervous about the range.
Yeah,
and
fair. Okay.
Oh, yeah, especially a Toyota product.
Yeah, they're not pushing the boundaries on
so
EV
when
range.
I had to have it, we were going to be having a lot of long drives because we were going down to our church that's like an hour away. And so I was like, man, I'm going to have to charge it a couple times this weekend and deal with this. And so I definitely get range anxiety. So that part I wasn't excited about.
So range anxiety and regular anxiety.
Yes,
okay. Yeah.
Combined.
Combined. It's just a lot
Car
of
is not
anxiety.
going for that. That's not their job.
No.
But I will say that I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed the car a lot this weekend.
It's quite the endorsement.
Yeah.
I'm in that camp too, so I guess I'll say that now.
Yes. Yeah. Put your votes in now. So yeah, we had it. We did a lot of driving in it. I found it really comfortable. I loved how quiet it was.
It's like exceptionally quiet, right?
So quiet.
It's the thing that struck me right away is especially, I mean, this is what, you want an EV to be like, right?
This is what I want any car to be like, to be frank.
Yeah. But it's just like taking full advantage of the fact that the powertrain is essentially silent and then it's just quiet on top of that. and
Yeah.
it's so great for it.
I kept driving like faster and faster to try and see if I could get the wind noise
Within,
to come
you
in.
know,
Within the bounds.
within the
Obviously,
bounds,
okay,
yeah.
I was going 67. But
We have a track.
Exactly. No, but every time I get onto the highway, I think, all right, this is when it's going to be okay. This is when
Yeah.
it's going to, and like
It doesn't.
the suspension is like this like distant rolling thunder somewhere. Like it's almost like calming.
It's one of those cars where you're driving for a while, right? And windows up, whatever. You crack that window for the first time in, let's say, 30 minutes, and you're like, oh my God, it's so loud out
Yeah.
there. Like,
Yeah.
just the differential between how quiet it is in the car with everything closed up, and then you open the window and you're kind of struck by how loud it is. So it speaks to how quiet it is when everything's closed, right?
Yeah, I think
yeah.
I was telling Maddie that like that makes it feel luxurious to me. Is that like
100% with
it's
you.
just so quiet and refined, and the ride itself just felt so like effortless, like the driving.
Yep.
So I was like, I barely feel like I'm driving. Not because I'm like using all the driver assistance, but just I don't know, it was just very enjoyable.
Yeah. I think yes, like the anxiety is valid, right? There are other aspects of this car that are a lot different than maybe previous ESs, right? But I was happy to see that they stuck to those kind of core things that make this car good, and then just a luxurious experience in general, the quietness, and then pretty exceptional ride quality, which is not a given these days, right?
And the fit and finish too. I noticed
Yeah.
it still has the Lexus thing where you put up the window and it just slows as it gets to the top and makes kind of a
Little details.
noise.
Right.
And
It's like a soft close drawer cabinet.
Yes. It feels. I mean, it feels still luxurious. It feels like, and this is, again, you look at some other EVs out there, Model 3, and it's not the build quality, the silence, and the suspension are the three things that I would knock against it.
Yeah. Right.
So
right.
compared to this, it's a huge difference.
Right.
And the more time I spent with it, the more that I found. So first of all, we also borrowed one from.
Yes, that's right.
We borrowed one that was the. Was it the premium or luxury? What do they call it? The higher.
It was the higher of the two.
Yes,
and
the luxury.
correct. And it was front wheel drive. So it was a bit of a different experience than the one we have.
But the interior had that like bamboo and
really cool.
everything
Yeah.
and the backlighting. And I thought, oh, this looks really nice. And then I got into ours and the color, it was a bit monochromatic. But when
White
you actually,
seats.
Very beige
and-
inside.
yeah,
Very
beige and a little gray and some, but then you were the one who told me, you're like, look at the actual materials, touch the actual materials. And I got in and I looked and there's interesting quilting, there's some soft touch surfaces, there's that micro suede, and it is interesting. And
I
the
think
more
so.
time I
Yeah.
spent in the car, so I did the first drive on it, then I shot a video on it. So I've spent a lot of time in it. And every time I got in this car, I agree with, it grew on me more and more and more.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it felt, first of all, I can't wait for the hybrid version to come
Yeah,
out.
I know. Right.
Because
That's
there
gonna be a
is
sweet
one and
spot.
That
we're
will
gonna
handle
buy
my range anxiety.
Yeah, for sure.
Exactly. But this is what an EV is supposed to be. This
Yeah.
is what a luxury EV is supposed to be.
I think even that monochromaticness though kind of adds to the calming effect though. Like it's very like neutral tones. It's just a calming sort of environment and just adds to that. So I mean, it's not great if you have kids because all those light colors
Yeah,
are going to
right,
show
right.
everything. But I don't know. I
Dark
thought
denim.
it was
Yeah.
I thought it was just a really nice package altogether.
Right. Yeah. And I think, I don't know, it's a smaller detail, I suppose, but the thing that stood out to me is what you said, the microfiber, like the way the gauge display is kind of set into the dash and it's like cut out a little bit. And then you have that microfiber kind of insert there. I don't know. It's unique. I haven't really seen that before. So I thought it was kind of interesting to look at and use.
I think in the wintertime, because we also got, it's called the cold package.
Cold weather package. or
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
And it was, so we got that as most of the cars that are sent up here. So when we bought it anonymously, we buy what's on the dealer lot, and cars that get sent to Connecticut always have the cold weather package.
Yeah.
This one had something really interesting. It has radiant heating that comes
Right.
from
your
the
knees?
glove for their knees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Glove box and then kind of under the steering column trim, essentially.
I think that's going to be really interesting to
It's going to make it really popular this fall and winter.
Yeah,
Another
exactly.
reason the ES is going to be popular here is
Yeah.
we
It's
love our extra heating.
Yeah, we need the heated steering wheel and the seats and all that good stuff. They had that on the RZ as the first kind of car to have that radiant heating, but it wasn't very effective. I don't know. When I tried it here, granted, it's not as cold as it was then when I tried on the RZ, but it just seems to put off more heat. So maybe they're kind of improving it over time. And the idea is so that you're using more of that and less of the actual traditional kind of heating system, which takes from your battery charge, your range, your efficiency, all that stuff. So,
and the climate controls themselves, they were kind of interesting.
Yeah, a little weird.
They didn't look like buttons, but they were buttons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They like wanted to follow the trend where everything's touch capacitive and in the screen, but then they didn't go all the way. So it's like a rubber membrane thing that you actually press.
You have to press onto.
Yeah, it's kind of
I
strange,
tried it first where I just like hovered on it and nothing happened. So I was like, oh, okay, I guess
Yeah.
It's the game we play now.
Thankfully, you don't have to just press a finger on it. You have to actually press the button, right?
But it does feel like every new car is a game of which is it? Is it touch? Is it...
Yeah, you can't go into it expecting just...
Do I swipe it?
Yeah, cars are escape rooms now. Yes. And we'll get to that.
Sometimes they really are because I can't figure out how to open the doors back up.
And this does have the Lexus doors.
Yeah.
It has, unfortunately, those annoying Lexus doors that we've talked about with almost every other vehicle out there.
Push button, you got it right.
Yeah.
And explain to your passengers how to get out, right? Because they're going to try to pull on it. And
you have to pull it and you have to press it and open it real quick in one motion. Otherwise, it'll get stuck.
Yeah, right.
And you have to press it twice and then you have to,
So I would imagine that these door handles also, and then the controls are part of the anxiety, right, Keith?
Yes, exactly. Although, I think the perfect ES was the one that got rid of that Lexus remote touch.
Yeah.
Basically, and then moved to the touch screen.
Right.
But this
second
touch
half
screen,
of the last generation, essentially.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is actually my mother-in-law has one.
All right.
But and due to my recommendation. But but
I see a used car in your future.
Yeah. What car should I get? But my mom has an Avalon hybrid, so maybe I'm a creature of habit. But yeah,
I would say yes.
The infotainment system much improved.
Oh yeah, just
bigger
like
icons,
software speaking, right?
Bigger screen, but not in a flashy way.
Yeah, they added a home. I mean, Toyota's kind of been going with this new infotainment system for, let's call it a couple years now, and it first showed up and. Some things about it weren't so great. It didn't have a home screen. You kind of always jump in between menus. And they've just kind of built on it a little bit over time to make it easier to use. They're not so worried about, maybe they copied Tesla in some other ways, but here things are larger, easier to see for the most part. Some small controls, but I found it, other than Bluetooth, which maybe we can get into that. But
could you connect your phone?
Oh my goodness. Every single time I got into the car, I would have to tell it to connect, even though it was already paired and all the things. And it was very frustrating. I was in a Toyota the last week as well, and it was the same experience. I was like, I don't understand why a car that I have paired my phone to must be like convinced to pair again, like to connect again.
Yeah.
I have to choose it from the menu every single time. Which makes it really frustrating because that's supposed to be part of the simplicity of it. It's like, oh, I'm in the car, my Bluetooth's on, the car automatically connects. And then I get halfway down the road, I'm like, I guess not. I guess I now need to do this myself.
It's inexcusable in the new RAV4 where the same thing essentially happens, but now you're talking about an ES, right? And an Lexus product, and it's just, it's not good. I mean, I had the same thing. iPhone, I had to enable CarPlay every time. And then if I didn't use CarPlay and I was just using Bluetooth, I couldn't have a phone call. It's showing my phone is connected for both audio and phone. You try to call somebody or they call you, just can't hear it.
And we have a ton of people getting in and out of these cars, and we delete their. I was the first person in the car, so it wasn't even like there. It was because we use them
they just
differently.
Are struggling with that, and there are people who have
Androids. There are people who have old iPhones, new iPhones. So we have a range of folks getting in it, and Toyota, Lexus just can't seem to. It was BMW for a while. It was Hyundai for a while. It seems.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like it should be table stakes, but it doesn't really lend itself to a luxurious experience when you're frustrated just at connecting your phone, right? And it can be distracting too if you already have started driving and then realize that something's gone wrong.
I know. And I liked most of the controls. There were certain aspects of it where I was like, why can I only access half of the climate controls here? And then I have to go into the screen for the other half of the climate controls.
Yeah, right.
A car at this level, I also kind of thought that there should maybe be separate like rear climate controls. They had this the S-Flow thing going on, and I didn't realize it was set to the S Flow, and so the kids weren't getting any air in the back, and it was so hot. And I was like, I don't understand. Do you have your own panel back there? Like, why is it not turning on?
You should have bought them the executive package.
Correct.
You should have bought them the executive package.
They're executive children.
That I
Speaking
chauffeur
of the
around, it
executive.
probably is
Although they
the
would
most
fight
accurate.
over who got to have the
leg rest. Yeah, I know.
Right.
The
Right.
oldest one gets the leg rest.
The oldest would get the leg rest, and the youngest would have
Did either of you try the leg rest in the borrowed one that we had,
Yes.
right? That higher trim. It had this, I think it was called the executive package.
executive
right?
package.
And it turns the ES into from a car you drive to one you get driven around in,
Yes.
basically, right? And the passenger side rear seat essentially turns into a recliner.
And you get controls. You
Yeah.
also get another thing I noticed that was missing on a car that cost this much, which I don't need, but it's in cars that cost a lot less, is the surround view camera. You have to upgrade to get the surround view camera. You just get sensors in the front. Fine.
even an
Yeah.
electronic child door lock is not available at 60 grand in this car, which I'm like,
Interesting.
I can find that in a Kia sedan. So why
Yeah.
not?
I
It
know.
always is confusing to me, the number of luxury vehicles that don't just have that button there.
Yeah, and I do wonder in this particular case what choices, and maybe that's one of them, were made because they're, an
Catering
EV
to
is generally more expensive to make because of the battery costs, even though, yes, it's going down, but it's still not the same as making a gas or hybrid. What did they have to leave out to keep the price at $54,000, right? Surround view camera, I guess, maybe one of them, and
Yeah.
then some of these other things,
And the
right?
price goes, and you'll notice the price goes way up.
Totally.
Yeah.
When you start, the one we borrowed was like 66.
Yes, so it's a big jump.
It's a big jump. But I will say the back seat for at least for adult passengers, that is one of the most, no matter whether you get the executive or not, that is one of the most comfortable, large
Yeah.
back seats. I can see a lot of these being used as like an Uber Black or for black car services, taxi. I mean, high-end livery
Yeah.
services.
Well, they added, if I remember reading it properly, they added quite a bit to the wheelbase, right?
Yeah, the car is
6.5 inches.
Yeah, it's quite a
Yeah.
bit bigger. That's a good point. And it's also taller, right? And particularly this EV where you got to sit on a battery pack, right?
Yeah.
You look at the car and in isolation, you're like, yeah, sedan. Then you park it next to maybe the old ES or something like that. And you're like, oh, this thing actually is quite a bit taller. You sit higher. Kind of reminds me of the Crown, right? The Toyota Crown, where it's like this weird in between kind of car SUV type thing, driving position. So I don't know if you found it to be a little different in that way to drive, but I did feel from a driving position standpoint, sitting a little higher up wasn't a bad thing, right? Better visibility in the glass area in this car is quite good.
Yeah, easy to get
so-
in and out
yeah,
of.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. All around between the access, the comfort, like the overall experience. I think it would be a great car for like when my parents retire and they, need something comfortable to get around in. I think it would probably be one of the few EVs my mom would actually consider because she's really EV shy.
Okay. Maybe the hybrid, right? We'll have
Yeah.
to see when we test that.
Yeah,
but-
we'll see. But overall, just it's comfortable.
Mhm.
And even though I had the range anxiety with this car, I was surprised. I was able to I felt like it handled everything very efficiently. Like I still had a surprising amount of range
Yeah.
left over.
It is an efficient vehicle, right? I mean, we talked about the wind noise early
Yeah.
on, and
you and I
yeah.
talked about the numbers on paper don't look that impressive.
Right.
But when it
Yeah.
comes to actual it can't do 350 kilowatt charging.
Right.
No, it can't. But when you charge it at home, it's actually pretty fast.
Yeah, it is competitive at home.
It
Yep.
can plug into a Tesla supercharger and put on more miles than like a BMW or an Audi EV. It's basically only slower than Kia and Hyundai and Genesis and Tesla.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
And some
and
of the
In terms of, in the way we're looking at this is you'll see, and Lexus is guilty of it too, that a lot of these companies are advertising basically the rate of charging, right? So you'll see 250 kilowatt or 400 for some of these new EVs.
And this one's 150.
Yeah, so it's lower, but that's like half the story is what we tend to say, because you're not really, that doesn't tell you how many miles of range you're getting for however long you sit on the charger, right? So it's the rate of charging combined with the efficiency tells you basically how quickly you're going to add miles to the car. So at 150 might be a little lower, but because the powertrain is relatively efficient, you're going to add miles relatively quickly. So it's, to your point, on paper, maybe doesn't look so special, but it is competitive. But the range is, they're using the same, actually, presumably, the same battery pack as like the Toyota BZ and some of these other EVs that are in the Toyota Lexus family. So when you compare it to like a Tesla or something else, they're definitely not as competitive. I mean, 270 something miles of range is, it's just not really pushing the envelope at this point.
It did tell me that I could have more range if I turned off my climate.
Yeah.
And I was
they're
like,
honest, they're very
it
honest
is
about
blazing
that.
hot
It was like
outside,
95
Lexus.
degrees this
Yeah, I
weekend.
was
Yeah,
like,
no.
no,
Yeah,
thanks,
that's not
but
realistic.
I will save myself, or I'll eat those extra 20 miles so that I can keep my AC on.
Yeah, and it's not so much of an issue around town or if you're charging at home,
Yeah.
but it's those longer trips and, like you experienced. So that's where the hybrid is going to be key.
Right.
What about
if you don't have to do, or if you don't frequently do like long road trips, then this could be a good option for you.
Right.
Otherwise, maybe wait for the hybrid.
Yeah, or a second car. You can have, and the other thing, you might need a second car because of the fact of some of the cargo issues. It has this nice big wide trunk, but this is a Lexus ES thing, and we asked Toyota.
Yeah, what is this?
They don't have, it's the rear seats don't fold down.
Oh yeah, they were like, it's a choice. We made
It is
it.
a brand promise or some corporate ease that they said.
Yeah.
Promise to give me less?
Yeah.
What is the...
What I've heard, sort of like, and this is just rumors, I have no idea, but that it has something to do with getting the car to be that quiet and getting sort of the NVH down.
Okay, all right.
That there's
all right.
some bracing or there's something there behind the seat that if you had the seats fold down, it's a structural.
I mean, yeah, that area back there is
you have it better sealed.
big reason for your torsional stiffness in a car. But in a car like this, I don't think you're so worried about that. But yeah, maybe it does help with transmitting vibrations. And if you can make that panel back there really thick or something, right?
But they were like, we don't want to talk about it. It's like, this is a choice that it's like all of a sudden it went to like,
defense mode,
Yeah.
corporate defense.
Yeah, they're like, this is a choice we've made, and we're sticking to it. And we're like, okay.
Okay, there is a ski pass through.
There is.
And then
Yes.
also there's no frunk. So you are losing
Yeah.
out
Right.
on frunk space because this is that shared platform that the hybrid's going to come out with,
Yep.
and there's going to be a gas engine up there.
Yeah, and that's really interesting. I mean, I think that's a really good thing to be aware of, is that the seats don't fold down. If it does truly enable the quietness, personally, I'll take the trade-off because I mean,
But if your parents are going to IKEA and they're getting a very long flat pack something for
they're gonna
their
need a trailer.
grandkids,
Yeah.
you need another vehicle.
You need another vehicle.
Yeah, the fact that they're putting I'm going to nerd out for just a second. The fact that they're putting
Really,
the
torsional stiffness wasn't the beginning.
yeah, we're just getting started. No. This is the first time they're putting an EV into what they call the TNGA-K platform, like the Camry, right? Or
Oh, I see.
RAV4, right? They've so far, and we don't really know the full extent of the differences, but something like the Solterra and the BZ are on a dedicated EV platform, whereas this is
gonna be a
technically
shared.
not. It's shared, and a lot of automakers are doing this, right? Because especially here in the U.S., we can't make up our mind on what kind of powertrains we want or what the future holds.
We need options, Alex.
We do. And options are good. Options are good. But yeah, it's just kind of interesting that they are going the flexible route, hybrid and electric, same vehicle platform. And it's kind of happening for the first time on this ES. The rest of the driving experience, I think, is interesting from a handling perspective. I had some issues with it a little bit. I'm not sure what you both felt about the handling, steering, things like that. You loved it.
I really did. I'm like, should I have now? But
No.
I did. I just found it really comfortable. I thought it handled well for like what I needed.
Yeah. It's pretty easy to drive, right? I mean, like lower steering effort. I think it in that way fits the bill.
Yeah.
Right. And maybe that's just the thing in general that I typically like about Toyota and Lexus vehicles is like that the steering isn't really heavy.
Sure.
Because that tends to be kind of a literal pain point for me on
definitely.
vehicles. I have tendonitis in my wrist, and so heavy steering just means that at the end of the trip, I am going to be in pain and it's not going to be enjoyable.
Yeah,
so
it's not worth it.
Yeah. So I found it to be really comfortable because it was light enough. It was what I needed. It wasn't so much where I'm just like, okay, we're just flopping all over the place. But
Right.
but it was kind of a sweet spot for me. So I did find it very comfortable, and overall, just my body felt good afterwards,
Good.
which is
okay. Well, I'm
what
glad
I
to hear
need.
that. Yeah, for sure.
I think it's definitely a Lexus knowing the audience of the vehicle because the complaints when I talked to all the folks who had been in the car. So again, I really enjoyed it. I noticed some that it was definitely it was interesting because some aspects of it felt a little bit a little confused around the edges.
Yeah,
in terms of.
okay.
But if you were to drive it like a performance car, you would get some really from the folks who I spoke with who drove it,
there was
who took it on the track.
mixed reviews in the logbook.
Yeah, I mean, it's very much set up to be comfort oriented, like we talked about, right? So you start hustling it or driving it really quickly, and you're going to notice high rates of body roll and doesn't necessarily feel engaging and sporty. I guess less of an issue with that because that's just not what the car is trying to do. But they put in, the steering is light, like you said, Emily, but it's also very quick. So like the ratio is quick. So it felt like it was almost too easy to put in very
too much
quick,
effort.
Yeah, like too much steering.
Like a little on the twitchier side.
Little on the twitchier
which you
side.
normally expect with something with some more resistance.
Correct. Yeah. So it just made it like on the highway, it could have been a little bit more of a relaxed experience for me if it was able to just not focus so much on the fact that the inputs were so
full town car. Just go full.
Maybe.
You
You
need the executive version.
Maybe they slowed down in the executive package. Yeah.
Because then you can just sit in the back.
Good point. You're right.
You
Why
need-
would I drive?
We all need a couple of promotions, and then we get the
And then we
executive
can buy
version.
the
You can
executive
get
package.
driven around like Miss Daisy. It'll be great.
That's right. The other thing I want to mention quick before we move on is the lack of one pedal driving. And I know that's maybe fine.
I don't
with some-
care.
If you
I
don't
was gonna say,
care.
Makes
I think
me
it's just
car sick,
interesting that
even
they
if I'm
don't
driving.
even have it as an option, right? Like make it
Yeah.
able to be turned off 110%. You don't want to force somebody to use it. Some of the better EVs at this point, they just make it easy to turn on or turn off.
Yeah.
Tesla, Rivian, those, they just force you into it all the time, but they don't have it at all. So you can change the regen using the paddles and things like that, but it'll never bring you to a complete
full-
stop.
yeah. But maybe to your point, Keith, this is where they know their audience. You know, maybe the demographic that's buying this doesn't want the
they want the more
jerkiness of,
traditional. Yep.
You know, the one pedal drive. I personally don't love one pedal drive. I think one of the things I liked most about this car experience was that it didn't feel like an EV to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, minus the quietness and like the isolation part. But I was like, oh, great. I half the time forgot that I was driving an EV.
Yeah. Right.
Except for when I looked at the range. So
And how quick it was.
yeah.
It is quick.
It's very. It's not like pin you to your seat quick.
Right.
But
Right.
It's quick.
The front wheel drive one we borrowed was
Less quick.
less quick for sure. So that is
You're
if
going to want the dual motor if
Took
you
its
want.
time.
Yeah.
So I guess the point is like if you're looking for maybe you're already in an EV or in a Model 3 going into something like this, it's going to be different than what
Yeah.
you're used to. If it's your
And-
first EV, probably won't care so much.
We keep kind of reiterating, though, that this is an EV that is tuned for comfort,
100%.
for luxury,
Yep.
not performance. So if you're coming from something like a Tesla or a Rivian where like you want that performance aspect, this is probably not the car for you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think you just kind of have to bucket them. Not all EVs are the same.
Right.
And you just need to understand that nuance here.
For sure.
You'll be
there's a
less
lot of-
disappointed.
There's a lot of like, look what we can do with EVs. And usually that's about kind of dumb things or things that are, or,
Unsafe things.
or it's showing off because you have more power to use
Yeah.
for more features. So you put, but I think what Lexus said was look at how look what we can do is look at how quiet it can be.
Yeah.
Look
I
at-
love it for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's great. By the way, did you use the paddles at all for the regen to change the regen? Because I love that.
No, I didn't this time. I have in the past, but I was comfortable where I was. I was like, I liked
You
the
can just
setting.
get in and drive it.
Yeah.
Yes,
and be
basically,
happy.
I really
Yeah.
did.
Yeah, yeah.
And
That's good.
I know we haven't gotten outside the car yet, but the getting in was so satisfying for me because I could open the doors.
Oh,
Yes.
because
I
the door
know.
handles didn't have to, do a whole song and dance before
That's
they.
Yeah.
part of the
Yes.
look what we can do.
Right.
Yes.
Yes, I got to the car and I didn't have to think extra hard about how to open the door and say any magical chance for the car to release itself to me. So I was very excited. It's a very low bar. I fully accept that.
That's
I
where we're
accept
at.
that it's
That is
not
where
even
we are
a
at.
fully normal door handle, but I didn't have to wait for it to pop out. I didn't have to say open sesame. Like it was great for me. I was like, yes.
There's like there's an electronic kind of pad
Yeah.
underneath. It's like BMWs have something similar. It's electronic, but it's hidden and it's always available.
Right.
Yes.
And there's also this kind of weird thing, and I went through the owner's manual about this. So
Okay.
if the battery dies, there is a way to get into the car. You have to pull this this sort of cover back and take a key out of the key fob. Yes, there's a traditional key fob that you get with a
Nice.
car.
Good job,
Again,
Lexus. Yeah.
not a look,
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, but it isn't something that, like, say, God forbid something is wrong and a firefighter needs to get in a flash.
Yeah.
This is more of the battery's dead and I'm parked somewhere and I have to get into the vehicle to tow it.
Right,
this is a little more involved, but at least it's there.
At least it's there. The bar, as you mentioned.
It's,
Taking what we can get.
Yeah, I do appreciate they've since these door handle types first showed up on like the TX and some of the RX maybe, there was always this little delay. So you would pull that pad that you're talking about and then, I mean, the shape was different, but you'd pull it and then like the
Wait
door,
for it.
and then it would release. So it was always this like kind of 2-stage thing. They seem to have made it quicker. So you just pull it and it opens, right?
Yeah.
Again, the bar is low. The door opens when you pull on it.
The door opens. Thank you.
Yeah. So anyway, so the ES, I'm pretty interested to see how it'll test when it goes through the full program, right? The last one scored really well. So we'll see kind of how this one does. So definitely check that out as it moves through the process.
Not to be remiss as a safety person to say that it does come standard equipped with all the key safety features that we like to see. You have your automatic emergency braking with pedestrian detection and highway speed cable, blind spot warning, rear cross traffic warning. It's got their whole, safety suite of things.
4.0.
And the latest version of it too. It's a good
I think
point.
it was like plus 4.0 and I was like, oh snap, it's the whole deal. It has the rear seat safety features that I like to see as well, belt minders, a nip trip reminder. Those outboard seating positions have advanced seatbelt technology, side torso airbags. So you get a lot of bang for your buck when it comes to safety, which I'm always really happy to see. Do wish that they had put that surround view camera because that's always helpful to have, but overall, very pleased.
Yeah, it's interesting you say bang for your buck because that was kind of where I was thinking with this car, and not to say that $54,000 is inexpensive by any means, but just thinking about what you're getting for the money in terms of that luxurious experience and the EV nature of it and the safety equipment. Somehow in 2026, it felt like a pretty good value at $54,000.
Until you remember that the last generation, this one starts at just under 50. The last generation started at just under 44.
Yeah, that's a huge
And
difference.
That number. So this vehicle is made in the Fukuoka plant in Japan, and I just saw a study that came across about the average cost of what tariffs have added to new vehicles is on average, and it depends on the country, but it's in the thousands. And we look at that. We look at other costs rising. We look at and we see, geez, this is a lot, there has to be cost cutting on. I mean, there's cost cutting on everything.
Yeah, sure.
But cost cutting on a $54,000 vehicle, and you're moving up an income bracket when you're going from 40, 44 to 50, 45 to 50. But it's for 54. It's a luxury car that if you can afford it, you don't have to feel guilty, I don't think.
Right.
Yeah, and at least the cost cutting didn't come at the cost of safety, of quietness, of like that experience. So
removal of all controls on the inside.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, but we'll see where the hybrid lands too, right? We'll test that too, and it's just kind of lagging a little bit in terms of being available, but we'll get one of those also.
It's actually a little more expensive. The hybrid's actually a little more expensive than the base EV version.
Right.
So that's interesting.
Not the normal trend.
Yeah.
All right, why don't we move on to audience questions? And just a reminder, send your questions to talkingcars@icloud.com, and we will send you some swag if we use your question on the show, which is pretty awesome. So
you're wearing some of the swag.
I am wearing some of the swag.
is that on purpose? Are you modeling it for
That's right.
audience?
It's not yes, that's right. It'll be a t-shirt or something else.
You actually didn't get this at work. You had to send in a question.
This is my question.
And
I got it ahead of time.
Yes.
Oh, okay. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay, so John from Palmer Lake, Colorado. He says, for my 2025 Volvo XC60 T8 PHEV, Volvo recommends a 10,000 mile oil change interval. If half the miles I put on the XC60 are in pure electric mode, would the 10,000 mile oil change interval effectively be a 20,000 mile interval on the gas engine?
Do the math first.
Do the math, yeah. Essentially, can I stretch my oil change on my plug-in hybrid if I do a lot of my driving in electric mode, is what this person's asking. Totally see where they're coming from. That is a logical thought process and question.
And also asking, is the gas engine waiting too long because if he's only doing it every 10,000 miles, could that be Wait, no, I did the math backwards.
You did do that backwards.
Well, I mean, to your point,
This
though,
is why you're an engineer and I'm a writer. But that's,
Well,
yes.
let's see. I haven't answered the question yet.
Yes.
10,000 miles can seem like a long time also, depending on, the car you're coming from. Some of these oil change intervals just in general are being stretched further and further. But generally, the answer to this question is no. So first of all, with any car, and this Volvo XC60 as well, the oil change interval is not random. They are choosing this for a reason, and it's not the same in the PHEV as it is in the regular Volvo XC60. So they're, the systems in the car, the engine's designed differently for a plug-in hybrid application than otherwise. So this 10,000 mile recommendation that they have is specific to your car, so I would follow it, general rule of thumb. But the reason I wouldn't go longer is because oil ages also. Mileage is one thing, but the kind of rule of thumb, and I talked to Mike Crossan about this, is about a year, right?
That's why they put a date on the little sticker in addition to a number.
Exactly. It's just like tires, right? You can...
Whichever comes first.
Yeah, exactly. You can age your tires by putting a certain amount of miles on them, or they can just get old and then they need replacing. And the same really goes for oil too. So about a year. And then just thinking about plug-in hybrids specifically, their environment, if you will, or use case is a little bit different, right? A lot of the times, if you are driving around in electric only mode, the way a lot of these plug-in hybrids work is when you need the full power of the system and you stomp on the accelerator pedal, that engine kind of wakes up and adds itself to the situation. So it can go from being pretty cold to being on really and revving really high all of a sudden, right? Which is a stressful situation. It's designed for it, but that can place, the oil under a certain situation than maybe otherwise. So oil changes, generally speaking, not really the place to skimp. So I would follow your recommendation, and especially the one specifically for your vehicle.
Right. The recommendation that's there in your manual is specific to the powertrain that you have. It's not like a blanket recommendation for all Volvos.
Sure.
So I think it's important. This is a place to trust the manufacturer recommendation.
Yeah, and not a place to, I'm not saying oil changes are inexpensive these days, especially on a premium vehicle, but in the grand scheme of things, you don't want to cause damage to your engine because you tried to stretch your oil. Stretch your gas tank instead by driving more efficiently. All right, so that is going to do it for our show. You'll notice on our Talking Cars YouTube channel page that we have a donation area set up, so you can donate to the show. You'll notice as you were watching this or you're watching other shows, you didn't see any ads. We are a nonprofit, and so your donations really help us kind of keep doing what we're doing, and hopefully providing the information that helps you. So anything helps. So yeah, definitely check out that donation button, and we will see you next time.